So it was a quilt.
Which was?
It was. I thought you might have that for your generation.
Yeah.
The quilt. We had graduated up to a regular pen, where we changed the needle.
Or the cartridge or something?
Not the cartridge either. Yeah, the cartridge always lasted. We had to change the actual thing you wrote. What do you call that? Just the pen part, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was a certain amount of gold used in them. Because they were wished to, you know, just look at the back. There was a stamp on it. There was so much gold in that part, you know? Because that time gold was reasonable, you know?
Right.
Yeah. It just slipped right in, Colleen. I had a regular pen I could demonstrate. It just did. There was a point, I guess, with so much pressure on it that you knocked it away, you know?
Oh, okay. And it didn't,
and it wouldn't write correctly for you. You had to change this part of your pen.
so you didn't have to dip the pen into anything specific to get the ink from it. It was coming out from like the well inside the pen. Is that what you said?
No, there was a cartridge, you're right.
Oh, okay.
And you had to fill it from the ink well. It was a thing that you pulled and it kind of sucked up the ink and then you closed it. That might last a day, something like that.
There was a big bottle that they kept it.
And the headmaster would come around and fill the ink wells each morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And somebody was telling me that
There were solid brass. There was a little solid. There was a lid that pushed across it and finished. Right.
they're very particular about if you didn't have it very neat. Like the blotter, you had a blotter paper, I guess, to
yes.
make the...
Yeah.
That's
See, I never heard any of these
to
things.
blot
I thought
the
that was
excess
interesting.
Ink, the excess ink.
Right.
You know, the blotter.
Yes.
Sometimes, you know, you might have too much ink in your pen and you get a big blob on your sheet. You've been so bad for that.
Yes, no, this was a girl who was about, who was telling me, she was, oh, this was at work the other day, we were talking about this, that's right. This girl was probably maybe no more than 40, and she came from Jamaica. And they said they used to flog the kids, right, if they didn't have certain things done just a certain way. So they were very particular about that.
Very.
How did you find the schoolmasters when you were growing up?
Oh, the word cross. And you actually. It was a lady doctor, a lady teacher.
Uh-huh.
That
Oh.
was there for children. It was a small daughters.
Uh-huh.
Infants reach. You could find that.
That's true. The lower classes always had women. Maybe they felt that women could handle the smaller children better than men.
Uh-huh.
When you got to be about 5th grade or 6th grade, that's when you met the men teachers, right?
That's right.
That was in our day anyway.
Oh, so it was a building. It wasn't really just a little schoolhouse kind of thing.
I think, Mommy, you went to more of a schoolhouse thing, didn't you?
I did.
Where Nora and I went had 4 classrooms. We used to change occasionally. Yeah. And we used to have those thing dividers on rooms, run across on tracks. They were very nice.
It's just like the
A glass on the top,
Yeah.
nice one. And he could divide the classroom by running across, changing the desks. But I remember when you went to school, Mom, that was more of a one-room classroom.
And who was
You, where you went to school?
Oh, where?
Because I know the little building, still there.
It is.
Isn't it still there?
It is.
On the Drummahere Road.
That's right.
Yes.
And when you wrote in the classroom, did you write with paper, or did you have to write on something else?
We wrote to the.
Did you have like little slates, or I guess they probably had that more when they were very young.
Oh yes, we had slates and
Chalk.
chalk.
And they're very young.
There was another something else too. Like. Like. Yeah, paper and. It was more than you know the pencil that you write with now.
Right, right.
That would be, and there'd be a cover on it. Cover that is on.
Like a little lead
Yeah.
thing or something that would slide into it, or I guess everything was made differently, but
That's-
basically the same thing, just they've changed the appearance of them, you know? And you grew up in Leitrim? Is that where you grew up?
That's right.
So that's where you grew up, you kind of raised your own children in the same place you grew up?
Right. Well, not really. Not in the same house.
Not in the same house, right? But you were all from Leitrim, and even Grandma was from Leitrim?
Litchfield, yes. Grandma lived in a place called Sweetwood.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in a different area from where we came from.
Right.
Right,
That's
Mom?
nice.
That's right. It's a pretty area. My mom's, my brother Dennis. My brother was nice. He named his house Sweetwood. And they built it and cut it up. Sweetwood over the door. That's Mom's town.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then there was Killavuggy was the other town, right? Or is that, my
Yeah.
mother always says sometimes that was the nearest town to you, so sometimes.
Well,
they
actually,
took
that was our
name.
parish. That was just
Oh,
our
okay.
parish.
Yeah.
Our parish schools and our parish church.
Right.
Yeah.
And even this,
There's really nothing else there. There's no town.
right, like, cause that's.
Drummaker was the town.
Would be your like post office box or your
Yes.
school's name, you might take that on, right?
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
It's funny.
Right, yeah.
We had Drummaker for our town.
Yeah.
So did you have street names, or no?
No, it went by what they call town lanes.
So how would you give somebody directions to come to your place if they were coming from across the way or so?
And, how would we know their name?
Oh, like you just give them landmarks and.
Yeah, walk and turn it, bus stop.
Or the big tree, right?
Yeah, right, that's right. Right, such a bridge or.
Yeah, I've heard comedians, Irish comedians
Yeah,
say,
right.
you'll see a big white house with fence and trim and all this stuff, and then, but don't pay any mind to it, just fly right by it.
Yeah,
Like this.
right. Fly right by it, yeah.
Go to
Follow the
grocery.
telephone lines and stuff like
Oh,
that.
God,
They
that's
kind of
funny.
directions.
Well, that's true, because I guess telephone lines weren't everywhere.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
No,
So
they
pull
weren't.
that
They were.
and stick it.
Yeah, he
They
pulls
were
it
good
in his
landmarks.
mouth. He likes it in his mouth. I don't know if I'm getting you on it there. Did you have a telephone?
No.
What year did you get a telephone? Do you remember?
Where did you write? 19. You should know.
I do know, but I just thought when you know. It wasn't until the 60s.
So on the farm there was never.
No.
Did you have any neighbors with telephones, or did you have to go to town?
No.
No.
There was no.
No phones at all
No,
in any
no.
area.
No.
Not even in the towns.
The post office was the first one to get a telephone.
That's
I
right.
remember that. It was the wind-up one.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And the communication must have been awful because they'd be screaming it.
Oh my
Come in
gosh.
Sligo.
Everybody,
Sligo was
everybody
on
would know the
10
message, right?
Yeah, right. Being, getting a message through to Sligo, and Sligo was only 10 miles from Drummager. And you hear them screaming, come in Sligo, come in. You know, it was Australia or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is.
So it was a very poor system for a long time. I'm sure it's much better now.
Oh,
But I always used to be intrigued with them winding up.
Yeah.
A lot of winding was done.
As if it was, there was a way to wind the watch or something.
Yeah,
to
right.
Get it
Yes,
working, you know.
exactly.
But I
Yeah.
guess, I don't know how they worked either.
Well, what was a big thing in Ireland was telegraphs.
Right.
Telegraph.
Yeah.
That was a way of communicating messages and
Cards.
important messages. Yeah. And they had a very good system. They had a very good delivery, didn't they, Mom? They got very quickly. So if one of the boys was coming home from England, he telegraphed.
Yeah.
He'll be arriving. And they were very good at the post office. They got those messages out very fast.
Oh, so it was, somebody would come on in a
Yeah, on
little.
a bicycle. Yeah.
On a bicycle.
Mostly
yeah.
messages that were paid by the post office. I thought they were very efficient about that.
Although I
They were.
Correct.
So people use that means of communication.
You'd
a lot.
never hear of
Telegrams.
a letter being
Telegrams.
lost.
Never, yeah.
Telegrams was a big thing.
Did they have, do you remember the first car that one came in the country?
I do.
What did you think of it when you first saw it?
Oh, we kept away up on the hills.
Did it make a lot of noise?
Didn't know.
Because they say some of the first cars made a lot of noise and they frightened people.
Well, they might later on now when wouldn't have any contact.
And did you ever get to drive a little bit behind a car, or you didn't
No.
never bothered with that? You,
Yeah.
No.
you had enough to do besides learning how to drive a car.
Enough to do all
So,
right.
no opportunity.
Right,
to
no,
do
that's
that.
true.
Yeah. That never had one.
If there was a wedding, there'd be 20 carers, maybe more.
If there was a wedding.
I remember
Oh.
looking at the wedding.
Uh-huh.
And sidecars. You ever see sidecars?
Oh, Mom means the horse and cycle.
Oh, horse and buggy
Horse
kind
and
of
buggy.
thing.
We
Oh,
call them
okay.
sidecars.
But there'd be 20 of them for a wedding, so
Yes.
that was must
Yeah.
have been like a parade almost,
It
of
was.
people
Yeah.
coming and going. Yeah.
I remember watching from the hill.
pretty sight that must have been, huh?
Did any of your own
Every-
children?
Everybody groomed their horses and more decorated
Yeah.
for weddings and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice.
It was nice.
Did anybody from the family? Mostly everybody was married in America.
That's
Is that
true,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
The only one married was Dennis and Dennis. But that was
And that was years
in
later
modern
when
age.
things
Yeah, that
changed.
was
Yeah.
64, yeah.
So next to the house, you didn't have running water, did you?
No, spring.
In the spring. And that's where you did all your washing and
We had a
bathing?
well where it
Oh,
was
the-
softer water to use.
Oh,
We used to go to the well and pour it. Less soap to do it. Very little soap.
right. No, that's true.
Water.
We have soft water here, I think
Yes.
in New York, but places that are out somewhere
Yes.
else,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah,
A lot of minerals or
We
something.
were lucky to have a river flowing right past our house, close by. And that was running water because it never stopped. You right?
Right.
Good source of water. But we never drank that water. That was river water.
Um,
We just used it for
And
bathing
animals could have
and
been in there and
yeah, right,
things,
and
right.
wash, and wash and bathe, and that's all. But we had a nice well close by for our drinking water.
Uh-huh.
It was farther away.
And how many rooms were in the house? In
3.
Ireland? 3 rooms?
Oh, wait a minute, Mom, we
No,
more
it
than
had to be
three.
more.
Oh, we had more than 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, where Mom was raised herself, she's talking about.
Oh, you were raised in a 3-room house?
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many children were in the Dolan family? Because your baby
10.
was Dolan. Oh my goodness. How did they manage that?
God, just carried on. Same as before, like everything. Yeah, do with little things.
Right. But I guess everybody had to double up or triple up in the beds, right? Because they didn't have much room for them.
No. Well, they had to double up.
Yes.
Yeah. But people spent more of their time, I guess, outdoors a good part of the year.
They did.
And the indoors were just really for just sleeping
Yes.
or eating something or something like that.
I think it might be important to mention here, Mom, that your father died when you were all very young,
That's right.
and your mother raised the 10 of you on her own. So that was twice as hard, you know?
And I
Yeah.
think my mom mentioned that.
Yeah,
once.
right. He died of TB was the killer in those days, you know?
Mm.
Before it was penicillin.
Cancer was,
Well, there's a special, no, there's
in this country.
there's kind of, some kind of special antigen or something
right.
that they give for TB.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
forget, it's like,
Yeah, he died a relatively young man, his 40s or something like that. Yeah.
was that a big thing that you'd hear of in Ireland? That people would die from tuberculosis when you were growing up, or?
oh yes, very much afraid of that.
Yeah.
It was fate,
Yeah.
yes.
That was sulfur we used to shake.
Used to, clean with sulfur.
Yeah.
That stuff leaves a nice little odor.
Oh, it does.
But it is effective, I guess.
It
You
is.
know, because even up in the country where we were, the water smelled like sulfur.
Sulfur, yeah.
But that was probably to keep it.
When we were kids, Mom used to give us a spoonful of sulfur before we left for school.
Well, not every morning.
Well, not every morning, but I never knew why, what it was for.
Well, the day cold or people afraid of getting it.
Yeah. Used to mix it with half sugar and half sulfur. Used to have to take it.
My kids would take it to be up and like to get the flu, whatever was going.
Oh, I see.
Mm.
Preventive medicine and that.
Right, I guess and you sometimes you use herbs or teas
Yeah,
for different
A
problems.
lot,
right.
a lot, yes.
Oh.
Use a lot of herbs for a lot of things, right?
Did you get them from your garden,
Indigestions.
or did you sell them in the stores? Or
no, we got them in the garden.
Right.
We're on the farm.
You could get them in the farm too.
Yeah.
Might be no, the right one.
Yeah.
So you were a bit of a pharmacist too.
Yeah, she was.
Because you would have to be to identify what you're picking.
Yeah.
That was another
So-
thing we used for something.
Article.
Was,
Horticulture.
it's like, it's like,
I know you said something about certain teas, or I know it wasn't like chamomile or blend or something for. stomach ailments.
We used to use Senopods for laxative. Mum used to
Oh,
soak
okay.
that overnight, like a tea, and drink it. My laxative were very effective.
I think they
Yeah,
still
very
sell that, but they
natural.
put it in a
Yeah.
different form. 'Cause
Form
I've
now,
heard
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Used to always use natural things
Yeah.
like that. One thing Mum used to have us drink before the school. Before we left school, she came around with a bottle and a spoon. A tablespoon of cod liver oil we all had to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone
Often
just
tasting
told, a
stuff.
pharmacist just
What was
told
that
me
good
that
for?
even a little bit of olive oil,
Yeah.
because he says you want a quick remedy for, like, because I was saying my daughter, I said, what could I give her that's not really harmful?
That's
And he
right.
said, well, a little spoonful of olive oil. He says it can't hurt,
Oh,
and it
no.
really will come right out. And they even say it's good for the heart. And
Yeah.
probably cod liver oil because it's from fish.
That's right.
Has very low, there's no fat, like no harmful
No
fat in
fat,
it.
that's
And the
right.
body does need a certain amount of fat for hair,
Yes.
for just our skin in general,
Well,
oils.
We didn't need a lot of that.
Right.
It was
So you did need it
Yeah.
to lubricate a lot of things,
Yeah, right.
not just, yeah,
Protected,
yeah,
so that you wouldn't get the disease. Yes.
yeah.
It's funny how I lost that memory of
That's okay.
Well, you
There
just,
you go.
when you're not thinking about it every day,
Yeah.
it's there, but you just have to kind of
Yeah.
get the quiet moment.
Joan was asking me last night about Rara, was it? Well, it was the name of the farm.
Outside Granny's house. Your mother.
Yeah.
Or Granny. Yeah.
But it wasn't near it was, but it was, what was the name of it?
Yes. But there was an area out there that you
Oh,
mentioned since you
yeah.
came. And I should have written it down that day, because I had forgotten it. And you jogged my memory when you said it. It's, oh my God, it's...
Now this was a,
We used to love to play on it. It was an area outside Granny's house. And they had a very definite Gaelic name for it.
oh, I was gonna say, was it a Gaelic word
It
because
was a Gaelic
it didn't
word.
sound,
And it was a word that I hadn't thought about since we were kids. And Mommy brought it up. Now I've been trying to get her to say it again, and she's forgotten it. And I have, too.
do you know anything to say in Gaelic? Do you have any little
No.
blessings or, you know some prayers, do you?
Sure, if you shed that aware the law the girls that she from March, you spanning to the release.
Very good, Mom.
Shed that aware along the girls. Spanning to the release.
That's a prayer.
Yes.
Is that the Our Father?
Shed that aware is the
Yes, it's the Lord's Prayer. Yeah.
Lord's.
Yes.
Say-
Very good.
Yeah, that is
Didn't
good,
forget
that's
that.
when you're not saying. Did you speak a good bit of Gaelic when you grew up?
No, because it wasn't taught in school. Joan and
Do you remember why it wasn't
generation.
taught? Do you remember why it wasn't taught in school?
Just too much trouble.
Well, I don't
Teachers
think-
wouldn't teach it.
Well, it wasn't exactly that way, Mom. I'm sorry to contradict you, but under British rule, it wasn't allowed to be spoken. And even though you weren't under British rule, Mom went to school, it still hadn't changed the law.
Yeah.
So it wasn't spoken. You know, Mom and I started going to school, they had
Kind of
Dad
allowed.
brought it back.
Right.
Dad brought
So
it
how,
back.
was your mother, was she able to speak it, or did the law even exist then, or is that pretty much when the trouble?
Yeah, there was
a lot
no
of it
Gaelic
was,
taught when Mom used going to school at all. Yeah.
and her mother as well?
No,
Kind of?
no.
Yeah, 'cause
Forbidden by that time.
that's
Yeah.
when the English, pretty much, I suppose, were in the southern
Yes.
part, or influential, or,
Influenced,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wanted everybody to be able to spoke. Yeah. Didn't allow Gaelic. They tried to outlaw the language. And they did for a number of years.
Wanted to have complete control, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Do you have any experiences that happened to you growing up that you felt at times from being Irish they would treat you a little differently? Or when you were kind of growing up, you had your own community of people, so you only dealt with yourselves?
Relations. Just get friendly with them. They wouldn't make too much friends.
And where you grew up, is there a lot of history there? Like, is it some parts that go back many, many years? Any historic sites? I know some of the graveyards over there, but I guess that's, you get a lot of that information in the books.
That's right.
Because I know I read a book once, it was called Of Irish Ways, and it gave some history that was interesting. I don't remember everything about it, but about where the Celtic, or the west part of Ireland, at some points you had the Spanish come in, what do you call it, when they came up with the ships, and they settled in parts of Ireland, and then you had the Nordic invasion. That's where you get the difference between the red-haired and some of the dark-haired.
Right.
Do you remember learning anything like that? No. Were the Irish pretty welcome? Did they welcome people from different nationalities?
They were very helpful. They loved visiting. They asked them to make tea.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting just to kind of talk about some of these things. Whenever I try to think of things to ask my mother, many times she's never had the opportunity to tell me, you know, things are quite different here. So when you hear it, it's
Well, every year and every generation was different.
Mhm.
Movements made for that generation.
Yeah. I imagine even now in Ireland, it's changed a good bit,
Yes,
and the way people are educated and.
yeah.
And do you think the young people are encouraged to stay in Ireland now, or do you think?
I think we are. They're a bit more encouraged than what they were. See, because everyone had such little money and everything had nothing only but the bird brought off the ground
Mm-hmm.
in the farm.
Right.
Plant potatoes and onions and a lot of different carrots, all that was white cabbage and red cabbage.
And did people come into town to buy your things, or did you have a common market you had to go to say if you wanted to
If you wanted to
buy clothes, did you trade, or did you
you
have
had
to get
go
cash?
into town if you wanted any material.
And they would trade
Yeah,
goods rather than really use money.
that's right. They had no money for the day. They went to stay there further in. They couldn't afford to
Did you
spend it on.
did you pay taxes on your property?
No, we paid rent
What they called it
and,
then?
and rates.
Did you-
The rates.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you did own the land, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
like you. Then sometimes they would rent
They
it out
did
too.
pay taxes.
Right.
They called it rates, they didn't call it taxes.
Rates.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are the rates high in Ireland? I guess for land, it's not. It depends on where it is. I
It
imagine.
is.
Depend on
Yeah.
where it
The
goes.
size of their farms.
Right. Was it hard to farm the land in Leitrim?
Was it hard?
Was the ground hard to farm?
No, it wasn't where we lived. It was other places that was really
So I've often heard that it said that Connacht, I guess, was the rocky soil. Connacht,
That's it.
because they had that expression to Heller Connacht
Yes,
when I guess that's when the English were strong in Ireland and
that's.
Right.
when it was really a
Yeah,
rural
it's not
place.
this land.
Yeah.
No.
So it was good that you did have
Yeah,
something.
but it was spots very nice.
Right. Oh, sure.
It's very nice fields and sheds and farming was not so much. Then that's always good for some.
Right, like it's more scenic or
That's
sometimes like cliffs or
Yes,
things.
exactly.
It's not so flat. Just like the United States, there's parts of it that are so different looking.
Yeah.
But each part is kind of unique in its own too, you know.
Yeah.
If everything was farmland, it'd be boring.